Great morning, everybody. Grand Rising. It's a Monday morning, August 28th. September is almost here. Can you believe it? Goodness gracious. It seemed like August just started. I'm talking about March, but August just started. It's crazy, y'all. This summer has just flown by. How was your weekend? How was your evening? Christina's back in the building. You know, I got to go straight to you, Queen. Here's what's funny, Christine. So I saw your post when you said, I'm still here. I didn't realize that was a theme of the message on Sunday morning until I saw George Hawkins' post. But what I said is, oh, that's appropriate. Because you feel as I had to recognize. Listen, me, myself, and I. Great morning, Grand Rising, Mama. Good to have you back in the building. How was your time away?
Good morning. Let's test my sound first. How do
My
I?
mic sounds nice.
Okay.
Fun.
It's
And I
been
know
a
I'm
week.
line Cherie, but I'm just excited. Christina's here.
Good morning. Good morning. I had a great week. Let's say that. Blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. And no, it was a whole mecation. If you've never taken a mecation before, yep, M-E-cation. You have to do that. It's one of those things where you have to get away and no children, no business, the whole nine. Scheduled some posts so that they would do what they were supposed to do. And I just went away. It was me and God on the beach, in the condo, at the restaurant, sleeping late, and all the things. It was so needed. I needed it. I needed to I needed to recoup. I needed to release. I needed to reevaluate. I needed to do all the re's, and those things happened. And I am ready for 23 to have an amazing end. For Christine M. Psalms personally. It has nothing to do with my business or my family, just how I want to end this year mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So that's what this past week was for me. So medications are so important.
I love it.
And I'm back.
And you're back. That part. A medication. Listen, I got to thinking, I said, when's the last time I took a medication? Probably when I was forced to, right before a family vacation years ago, Christine. I'm sure Cherie will chime in on this, and she remembers this one. We were going to go on a family vacation one year. This was years ago. And Cherie said, not with you, we won't. No, sir. A, we don't like you very much right now. And B, we don't want to go anywhere with you. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to go ahead, and we're going to hang back. You need about 3-4 days to yourself, Mr. Man. Play some golf, do something. But I was being more than a bear during that season. So I think I need to incorporate a few more of them in my whole life. It is so good to have you back, Christine. I'm excited we missed you. Cherie is in the building. Just want to shout out Randolph Potter chiming in on Instagram, LinkedIn. And Audrey Bell, Grand Rising. Great morning, Audrey. She's on LinkedIn as well. My LinkedIn family's showing up early. That's what's up. For those of you guys who are on Clubhouse, Renee is here. Trudy is here. Mr. Fun with the cartoon characters here. Sharon's here. Great morning, everybody. Y'all do me a favor. Share the room out. In about 10 minutes, we're going to switch gears. I'm going to go to a monologue for Mindset Monday. I'm going to challenge your mindset in this particular areas that have helped me. And I just want to pass it along. Cherie, how was your weekend? How was your evening, babe?
Good morning. Good morning, morning show. Good morning, Christine. I missed you. Yeah, I had a great weekend. Had a great evening yesterday. Actually rested this weekend. Did not do a lot of running around. Actually rested. I stayed in the house most of the weekend. Went to the grocery store, I think, on Saturday. Other than that, just chilled. We had a busy week last week before last, and last week because we had guests in town, and so I got to rest and relax and do nothing. And so that was my weekend. So I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad to see your lovely face, Christine.
Cherie, it's the whispering, and it's kind of, I'm feeling weirded out right now. She went sister whisper on me. I don't know what to call that. It's the sister. Oh my goodness. I grew up in a house full of women, right? 7 sisters I have, guys. I know the sounds. And it's just the whole thing. It's the sounds that I feel like I need to excuse myself from the room. It's like this is going to go sideways. I was the rebellious little boy who would not conform to his sisters. And so therefore y'all just wasn't going to do it to me. So yeah, that rebellion comes out every now and then.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. It's time for you to speak what you want to see. And if you with it, then repeat after me. Come on.
Grand Rising, everybody. Great morning. It's good to have everybody in the building on this Mindset Monday. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. Excited to have you guys along for the ride. For those of you guys who are joining us by way of YouTube or maybe LinkedIn or perhaps Facebook, we want to say welcome. Do us a favor. Put your name in the chat. Last week, Christine, there were several people that hit us up either in the DMs or direct messages or after the show. We hadn't had a chance to run into some people who were listening, and we never knew they were there. They were like, yo, there was a great show this morning. Like, really? Where were you? And it always amazes me how many people are listening, and we never know that they're there because there's no way to measure you if you don't raise your hand. So I don't do this to embarrass you. I do this to encourage me. You know what I'm saying? Encourage the team that we actually doing something that's resonating with people. Ain't nothing like, pulling together what we do to pull these shows off. And we not know how it's hitting. So do me a favor, guys. Raise your hand. Say good morning, something. You know, say good morning. Say something. If you're on Clubhouse, of course, y'all already know the drill. Put your name or the city and state of where you're tuning in from. Put that in the chat along with the temperature. We're going to hit that in a second. Let's go. How many of y'all woke up this morning feeling like blessings are all around you? Yeah. Put me in the chat. There will be blessings on blessings. I know that's right. We're going to talk about it on Mindset Monday today. I'm going to specifically really pour into us as leaders, you all. So right around 15 minutes after the hour, we're going to break. We're going to do a monologue and just kind of check in a little bit. The question of the day will be, which mindset do you struggle with? I'm going to talk about 5 of them. 5 mindsets that you need to have as a leader. So let's talk about it. Let's put it in the chat. Every single one of mine. Super excited that this week's broadcast is being brought to you by AARP of Atlanta. Excited to have them along the ride for Bootstrap and Redefine. If you've not picked up your summer blowout sale tickets, I got a feeling that they're going to go up in price here really soon, y'all. We can only hold on to the summer until the summer actually ends, which will be the end of this week. So I got a feeling that they're going to go up in price. So make sure you grab that. For those who don't know, we host an annual event called Bootstrap and Redefine. This is our 4th annual one. And we have assembled a group of leaders to come together in a room in Atlanta. It's going to be live and online hybrid event. And the whole goal this year is to teach and train leaders how to think differently and how to build your teams. There are a lot of you guys who have started a business. Shoot, you've even grown your business. Here's the problem. You're finding it difficult to scale it. That's where you need a team. Christine could not take a week off of me time without a team. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those mindsets today, but if you have not signed up, do me a favor, hit that link at the top of the room on Clubhouse. Go to the link in our bios there, and you will have it in your greedy little hands. Christine is going to be teaching. That's going to be a whole thing. People actually, Christine, and maybe we can pull that apart for the next few minutes. People actually think that is unique and quite frankly, uncommon to think that I could do a whole week of just me time. Now, and when I say that, meaning, oh, it works for you. They'll make excuses for the person that's doing it. Oh, it works for you. I was just looking at InvestFest clips and highlights. I think I'm going to try and go next year. Just because it's been a long time since I've got out around, and there's a lot of colleagues and friends of mine who go. But I just want to get a different perspective of how some people are thinking. But it's amazing how you can say, oh, yeah, I can see how that would work for them. Oh, that would never work for me. You know what I mean? And we make excuses as to why we can't grow, why we can't become a different version of ourselves. without going into too much detail, because I know you're going to unpack some of this stuff at Bootstrap and Redefine. Can you talk about the mindset of that mompreneur? Because this is more than you just getting away. You're not putting your family on timeout. You're not, back in the day when your mother said, that's it, I ain't cooking no more, I'm on strike. Like, you were getting punished when she didn't cook. For you, that it's not like that. Come on, talk to me a little bit, Christine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taking time out for you is so important. And especially as moms and mothers, I'll just say women, we don't think that's something that we, first of all, deserve or that can possibly be done. So even when I posted at the end of my vacation, hey, I just spent 5 days by myself and just, me and the Lord, and the kids were not allowed to come. And my husband, he came up one day, but just to make sure I was okay. It wasn't that far away. And I'll get into that later. But it was one of those things where I knew the business was going to be okay. The family was going to be okay because I had set parameters and the tone before I left. I'm not talking about the day before I left. I'm talking about months before I left or a year before I left. I had to set the tone at the beginning that this is what it looks like for me to get away. And it's not something, some random thing. It wasn't oh, she just did that because she has all these adult children. I still have a minor child at home. She's 12. I have a father who I care for every day. He's 80. Have a husband who's running his business as well. So it wasn't like people think, oh, you got grown kids, you can do that. People were amazed that that can actually happen. Even if you have a 9 to 5, even if you have minors or toddlers at home, it can absolutely be done. But the first thing you got to do is change your mind about it. You think that only certain people fall into this category. You have to have certain requirements. Well, maybe you do have a vacation coming up. I planned this months in advance. It wasn't something that, even if I hadn't, because I do take me days every week, and I take me time every day. You have to change your mindset that, one, when you go away, that you will shut life down. Like, I was not on the morning show on purpose. Sean actually thought, he said, do you need me to pack up your mic? And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I told them I'm away. My studio didn't call. My studio manager didn't call me. They knew that I was away and what I was doing. He even put a block on my kids. He said, you are not allowed to call mom. You are not allowed to. So once I changed my mindset, I changed my husband's mindset, or had him evolve, if you will, into something that he knew I needed. And I could feel the moment when it was getting closer, because my mind began to say, okay, Christine, the little things are starting to frustrate you. And that's what happens is we don't listen to ourselves enough. We listen to everybody else. We listen to the thought that comes in and say, I can keep doing it in spite of how I feel. And I could feel the tiny little things irritating me. And I said, okay, it's time. I know, looked at my calendar. Yep, it's coming up. It's about time for me to step away. And changing your mindset means actually listening to yourself, coach. The real you, not the one that you show the world, but listening to the real you. And so I'll yield right there.
Ooh, Christine, that is so very good. It's 6:14, 14 minutes after 6 o'clock here in Panama City, Panama. And it's 14 minutes after the hour wherever you are. Appreciate that, Nolan. I know that the tech team is looking in on that. Thanks for keeping us informed about the audio challenges that you may be having. But James, let me know. Let's do this before we even go to this. Other than Nolan, is anybody on Clubhouse hearing 2 audio streams? Put me in the chat or put a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious as to why that might be and okay, so Tammy, Dr. Pam, Mr. Fun said I was, Renee said it just stopped. Okay. So do me a favor, Tammy, and I was, but logged off and now it's better. Okay, Dr. Pam, if it stopped for you, put that in the chat too. That way we know it's being fixed forward. I appreciate y'all's feedback. I appreciate that. Something you said, and I want to kind of address that. John just pulled up. Good to see you, baby boy. John, I totally missed our appointment last week. I looked up, it was probably 2 days later. The in-laws, the the in-laws. Yeah, they over there crying, talking about when y'all coming home. Never. We're never coming home. What are you talking about, Mom? No, but the co-parents were in town, John. My whole week was thrown off, brother. So I apologize for that. But we're getting ready to switch gears. And I wanted to go to Mindset Monday early and make sure, or actually on time, so that we can unpack some things I think that leaders absolutely need to develop if they're going to become effective in their leadership. And it's going to really cause you to press on your mindset. Before we do, I just want to make sure, Sheree, give me a thumbs up. Are we good on audio, I think? I'm not looking at the chats. Are we good? It was just you now. Now there's 2 female voices. No, was 2 female voices. Okay, so that means that I'm good. Yes?
No, it says it's just you now.
Just me now is 2 streams. That's what I'm clarifying. Nolan says yes. So it's just me having 2 streams. Let me do this. Let me go out of Clubhouse and let me come right back real quick, James. And then I'll just y'all look for me. Hang tight.
Hey guys, thanks for holding on while Glenn tries to fix this little technical error. For those of you viewing us on KBCN, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. We want to ask everybody to share the room out. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, share it out with your connects. Invite other people to come and join us today. Also, if you're on Clubhouse, go ahead and share the room out. Invite your contacts to come and join us for today's session of Mindset Monday with Glenn.
All right. Now, how does that sound, Nolan? Give me a thumbs up if I sound better. Okay, good. Awesome. Nolan, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. It's good to have people on the team that can give you good feedback. And it's actually playing right into what we're going to talk a little bit about on Mindset Monday. 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. The question of the day, I'm telling you on the front end, is going to be, which mindset do you struggle with? Okay, somebody write that down. I'll recap at the end for those that pull up after this is over. But which one of these 5 mindsets do you struggle with? And we're going to get into this. Great morning, everybody. Grand Rising. Good to have you guys back on a Mindset Monday. My name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. And we switched up our format a little bit a couple of weeks ago. And the goal really was to kind of highlight each one of the mods on a different portion of the show throughout the week so that it can kind of focus you all's attention on some of the goodness that's happening in this room and really, really lean into some specific content that different people would love to share. I'm taking Mondays, and Mindset Monday is my segment. And I want to share with you guys some things that really have challenged me over the years. I often tell people the story that I really did not start leaning into leadership until I was in high school in terms of recognizing that I even had influence. A lot of times people don't understand, and John Maxwell says this in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and that is leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. The reason why you know that is if you look at a 2-year-old come into any room, anywhere, whether she's family, whether you know her or not, she can move the room. Immediately, she has the most influence. It becomes, oh, isn't she cute? Oh, that. So whatever the little girl, the little boy, the 2-year-old does, you're going to be paying attention. That's the leader at the moment. It doesn't mean that the leader has a title. It doesn't mean that the leader is, quote, in charge right now. It does mean that they have the most influence. And it's the leader that can learn how to wield that influence that generally becomes the most effective. And over the years, I've learned in order to do that, you have to develop certain mindsets. Christine just shared just a little bit about her mindset around being a mompreneur. The mindset of, no, it is possible for me to block off my calendar a couple of times a year and have a mecation. I think that in our culture, a lot of times, particularly when you listen to people talk about self-care, often you hear that almost from a standpoint of something negative. And here's why I say that. You often hear people or see things say, well, self-care isn't selfish. Well, why would you even need to clarify that? Because somehow, somewhere along our mind and in our culture, we think that for you to prioritize you is being selfish. Well, culture has taught us that. There are 5 mindsets that leaders need to develop if they are going to be effective. And I'm going to help unpack a few things and how these things have played out in my life. Number 1 is a caring mindset. I need you to put that down. Write that down. Number 1 is a caring mindset. This involves emotional intelligence. Just really quickly, and we're not going to talk a ton about this, but emotional intelligence make up 4 components, right? It's self-awareness, it's self-management, it's relationship management, and social awareness. And when you have a person that has a high EQ, you often find that they become people who are sensitive to people and that they lead by feeling. Not by dictating, not by knowing the numbers necessarily. They sort of feel their ways. You've heard it talked about in terms of coaches in sports. Oh, he's a player's coach. Whenever they say that word player's coach, please understand that that coach probably has a very high EQ. They get it. They know how to relate. A caring mindset, when a leader takes the time to show that they care, this mindset will begin to affect and begins significantly transforming the team. It actually helps them connect with their team in a better way where they can now, listen to this, earn their trust and respect. A lot of leaders, because we created the thing, you pay the cost to be the boss. I'm putting that in air quotes. Y'all, a lot of us grew up like that. Look, I pay the cost to be the boss. Look, it's either my way or that level of leadership is more of a dictatorship. I'm going to make you do what it is that I'm asking you to do. And a lot of times that looks really different. Sometimes it can be in money. I'm going to withhold something from you, or I'm not going to give you the raise until you do X. But the leader that can show that I am willing to earn your trust, earn your respect, it ensures a higher level of productivity and greater results. Last week, I had a chance to, I was just, perusing on YouTube, and I saw this clip on how they're retraining our drill sergeants in the Army. And as a military veteran, I remember all too well when the drill instructors went off on people. I mean, and the caption on YouTube was like, drill sergeants are no longer cussing people out or something to that effect. What they're saying is that studies have shown that people don't move well when they're threatened. You don't get the best out of people when they are pushed and beaten on and talked bad about and shamed. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean, and this is what I found very interesting. It was the commandant of that particular drill sergeant academy that said this. He said, but this in no ways compromises our goals of training the very best leaders in our drill sergeants. We just have figured out there's a different approach to doing it. Now, the truth of the matter is that comes out of a caring mindset. And it warmed my heart because all too often for so many years, the military has gotten such a bad reputation, I think earned such a bad reputation when it comes to how they lead. Number 2, an abundance mindset. I need you to write that down. An abundance mindset. The leadership mindset of abundance will not only help you to create new possibilities, listen to this, but you will also be in a position to motivate others in a similar way. There is nothing more frustrating for a leader with an abundance mindset to be leading people with a scarcity mindset. I'll give you an example. You are the head of a division, a head of a company, and there are reports, people who directly report to you. But because of their scarcity mindset, they always see the glass half empty. It brings a certain energy to a room, particularly when you're doing things like brainstorming or trying to figure out how do we navigate said issue. Now, guys, I'm going to say this on the front end. All of us at some point along the way struggle in one of these 5. At the end of this, I'm going to ask you, which mindset do you struggle with? And I'm going to ask you to put 1 through 5, and we're going to unpack that on the back end. But this abundance mindset is huge because if it starts in the leader, oftentimes, here's what I know to be true. You can't make people change, but if you show up in a way that is however that is that you show up, it generally causes other people to change in accordance to you. So when you as a leader walk in abundance mindset, you see the glasses half full. You always see possibility. You always see, okay, yeah, we lost, but what did we learn? That's an abundance mindset. I struggled big time for a long time in this particular area. I had a scarcity mindset. If I didn't do it well, I didn't even try it. That's a scarcity mindset. It's a fear motivated mindset, and it will inhibit you. It will slow you down. It will cause you not to be able to level up your leadership. Number 3, this is a big one, and I know a lot of people struggling with this, but number 3 is challenging beliefs mindset, a challenging beliefs mindset. I shared with it on the last 2 episodes of Mindset Monday. There is a book by Adam Grant, and he talks about thinking differently. He talks in this book about the idea of challenging yourself to think differently. And a lot of times what people don't do is they do not challenge themselves well. Whenever I have a limiting belief, I often recognize right now in my space, there is something challenging my belief. A leader needs to constantly scrutinize and challenge their beliefs so that they can let go of those that are holding them back and unnecessarily. Guys, let me say this so that you're very clear. All of your beliefs are not there to serve you, meaning they don't serve you well, or some of them have a shelf life. And I'll characterize it this way. In our MAPS Relationship Academy, I can always tell when I have couples who grew up in survival mode. Because when you are a child and you grow up surviving, kicking and screaming, fighting for everything that's yours, fighting to be noticed, fighting to be recognized, keeping people up off you because maybe you were bullied, you often come into adulthood that very same survival mindset. And the idea of it is that by the time you get married, now you're marrying someone as a survivor. As a result of that, you don't thrive in that relationship very well because now you don't trust people. Now you have issues with you side-eyeing this and well, what you mean by that? Because you have this, and I'm going to go here, a limiting belief that everybody's out to get you. You have a limiting belief that don't serve you now. Listen to me carefully. That same limiting belief kept you alive as a kid. It kept, if your mother was strung out on drugs, if your parents were not there for you, if for whatever reason you had to raise yourself, let me tell you something right now, that kind of belief system that says, hey, I need to protect me at all costs, that thing kept you alive. Here's a challenge. You're now married and you don't need to have that mindset in the marriage because nobody's out to get you. This person actually loves you for who you are. But a lot of times when we don't challenge that mindset of limiting belief, we will continue in a relationship. And as leaders, y'all, it looks really, really bad because now you're second guessing people on your team who actually are there to serve you. And they're really good at what they do. I've watched more leaders chase off great leaders because they did not have a challenging beliefs mindset. The leader was insecure. The leader was the one saying, I don't know about, this person or that person. I mean, we see it even in the Bible. There was an incident where Saul was absolutely insecure of David's exploits and David's accomplishments. And so he made up something in his own mind that said, no, I got to get this dude. There's no way that I can. I think there's a scripture that talks about David has slayed his thousands, 10,000s. I've only slayed my thousands. He's comparing himself to this man on a regular basis. That's a limiting belief, and it will challenge your leadership. Number 4. I hope this is helping. I hope this is helping, guys. If this is helping, you put me in the chat. Number 4 is a collective mindset. And we're talking about, for those of you guys who just jumped in, this is a Mindset Monday. We're talking about the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. Guys, these mindsets have to be developed. They don't come prepackaged, ready to go, out the box, plug and play. That's not how this works. These are beliefs that have to be developed over time. These are mindsets that have to be developed because, again, like I shared before, not everything serves you well, and they certainly doesn't serve you in this season that you're in. A collective mindset says this mindset is based on result sharing and mutual accountability. You hear about this in sports all the time, and that is somebody needs to take accountability. Not someone necessarily needs to be held accountable. Let me help you understand the difference between the two. it is difficult for me to hold you to something that you don't want to be held to. That's very, very difficult to do. However, if you're the kind of person that will take accountability, take responsibility for what you do, at this particular point, it changes things. Just this morning before the show, I was on social and I saw where Steve Harvey fired one of his social media managers. Apparently, this person put something out on Twitter and they posed a question, name a comedian that's not funny. Well, when he got wind of it, he A, had it taken down, and B, that person got fired. And he was on a fishing trip and he said, I need to clear this up immediately. He said, somebody on my team put out a tweet that goes directly against my brand. If you ever hear anything I do, I'm always bringing motivation, positivity, inspiration. These cats coming up on the circuit today, they need a shot. They don't need nobody telling them, well, you ain't funny and this, that, and the third. Here's the crazy thing. He said, what do I look like? He said, now, and this was the magic word. He said, I'm going to have to take some accountability because it happened on my Twitter feed. Y'all hear that? In other words, he also showed us that when the whole Miss America pageant went down and he read the wrong information. He took account, even though they gave him the wrong information, he took it, like him, love him, or hate him. One of the things I love about Steve Harvey is that he's willing to own his ish. He's willing to own his stuff. He's willing to say, yep, I screwed that up. And so even when people come at him or this, that, and I'm not advocating for or against, I'm admiring the fact that he's willing to say, yep, that's me. That's because at this particular point, what he's trying to perpetuate is mutual accountability within his team. See, what would have been better is for the teammate to say, you know what, Mr. Harvey, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. I did this before Mr. Harvey finds out. That's what it looks like to take accountability. And so when you have a collective mindset, if you have this kind of a mindset, you'll be able to identify and appreciate the relation between parts and wholes, meaning there's a whole project and then there are parts of the project along the way. When you have that kind of collective accountability or collective mindset, what happens is that you encourage a culture that says, no, we screwed this up. We can't let this go out. This is long before the leader finds out. Oh no, I've got to challenge this. I thank God for my team because they will tell me in a heartbeat, yo, this is not right. This is wrong. I don't think you meant this way. Does this make sense to you? Before I send this out, let me get your eyes on this. And even after that happens, I often will allow myself to be checked by the audience. It happened this morning. Nolan was like, yo, this audio ain't right. Something's wrong. I saw the chat. I could have ignored it to say, well, he don't know what he's talking about. I sound fine. Well, that's awfully egotistical. Because at the end of the day, let me explain something to you. I'm not coming to these microphones to talk to hear myself talk. I want to add value to you. Well, if it's not coming across well, we got to fix that now, as opposed to trying to fix it on the back end. I hope that makes sense. We're talking about the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. Number 1 is a caring mindset. Number 2 is an abundance mindset. Number 3 is a challenging beliefs mindset. Number 4 is a collective mindset. And the last one is one that all of us have heard of. It's a growth mindset. Now, I know that what you're thinking, well, I've heard this one, Coach. My question is that do you embrace it? This one is essential for leaders to practice and exhibit a growth mindset, listen, which others can follow. And it's similar in a collective mindset, but it happens more on a personal development level. Let me say this so that you understand this. You guys have heard me say this on several occasions. If your coach is not being coached, or if your coach doesn't have a coach, you should fire them. And the reason why is because you may be following somebody that has grown comfortable and they're no longer growing. That's going to be bad for you. Right now, we're in a middle of a pivotal switch in our branding and our business and how we show up. And over these next 6 months, we are literally walking through who are we becoming and are we aligned with that in all of the different things that we do in terms of showing up. As a result of that, there are going to be changes that are made. That's not a bad thing. It's a growth thing. We're recognizing that this no longer serves us. Why are we doing it? That program over there is no longer effective. Why can we tell? Because people are not responding to it anymore. I'm talking about people who've bought the program. Not talking about selling it. If it's no longer servicing people, then why wouldn't I consider changing it? Anybody that knows me knows I will blow something up in a heartbeat. I often have to struggle with doing that prematurely. MAPS Relationship Academy stands for Marriages and Parenting Successfully. 2 years into that, we had our parents, our single parents particularly, that were pulling our coattails saying, you've taught us well, coach, about how to raise our children. Now we want you to lean in to teach us what you got. Like, how do you and Cherie do what you do? These are the single ladies in our community who are parents. And I said, what are you talking about? Well, you've helped us to be able to lead and direct and to grow our children. What about our lives? It's our turn. I said, what are you talking about? We want to know how to do relationships effectively like y'all do. Not perfect, but effective. And I said, well, I'm not sure how to talk because we don't have anything for singles. Well, why wouldn't you consider something for singles who want to get married and want to rewrite the script on how they've done it before, and they want to position themselves so that they can be attracted to the right partner and vice versa, and then thus grow up. And they gave me the language for what evolved into a singles community in the MAPS Relationship Academy. And we ran that play for 2 years. And we added crazy value for 2 whole years. At the end of that 2-year run, it began getting to the place where I felt like the well has run dry. And I made the comment, guys, I no longer have what it takes to serve you with integrity because I think we taught you everything you need to know until you get married. And I don't want to take money from you and we're just rehashing the same stuff over and over again. I think we need to cause this thing to go away. I think we need to dissolve this. And people were like, no. I'm like, well, tell me why we're doing it. And for 6 months after that, we kept going. And then the well really ran dry. And I said, guys, we got to stop. I think at this particular point, y'all are just connected to a community that you like, but I am feeling like I'm not serving you. And so I am going to go and discover a couple of other communities that you can switch gears and go be a part of, who I trust the leadership over there. And I'm going to suggest you guys go follow them, because at this particular point, the well for us has run dry. That, my friends, is a growth mindset. Oh, by the way, it costs us thousands of dollars a month to make that call. But we could care. The money wasn't the issue. What was more important to me was that person's soul, that person's psyche, that person's makeup. On this Mindset Monday, I've been talking about the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. Number 1 is a caring mindset. Number 2 is an abundance mindset. Number 3 is a challenging beliefs mindset. Number 4 is a collective mindset. And number 5 is a growth mindset. Which one of these, if not 2 or 3, do you struggle with? Which one of these, if not 2 or 3, do you struggle with? And if you can, put it in the chat and let's get ready to talk about it. That's Mindset Monday. It's 6:39, 39 minutes after 6 o'clock here in Panama City, Panama. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. And we're back, guys. Listen, I just want to unpack this. Anything that resonated with you, one of the 5. Let's start it out this way, y'all. Kind of give people an idea of how this goes. I just want you to pick one of the 5, if not 2. You can go for it. But which one of these do you struggle with? We talked about the 5 mindsets of a leader that you need to develop. John is in the building. Christina's in the building. Cherie is in the building. Come on, let's talk about it. Come on, anybody want to clip it up and let me know you're in a position to talk? Let's get ready to get it.
Follow me, follow me, follow me.
Oh, my bad, Christine. Yeah, your finger is up. You got the church finger. I'm looking at Clubhouse. Come on through, lady.
Yeah, I thought we switched from the clip to the finger. But for me, I'll say that the challenging beliefs mindset is the one that has been the most challenging for me to overcome. And it's because it's either how I was brought up believing a certain thing or how everyone else is doing something. And you think that because everyone else is doing it this way, then you buy into, then that's the way it's supposed to be done. And it's what we call pre-understanding, how you were taught to do something, or how it's engraved or embedded in you or in society, and you just kind of own it. But being able to challenge your own beliefs of how something is done, or how you move, or how you process things has been the most, because you have to understand, people have to realize, even people say it all the time, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about, yes, you do. There's a part in you that you actually wonder, if you do it this way, will they buy into it? And it's because we're taught that, hey, it's the way we're supposed to go. So yeah, for me, that one is that mindset.
Yeah, man. I put in the chat, Dr. Nicole put in the chat, she said that abundance one is hers. And I had to say me too. But yeah, these things will creep you over the course of your leadership. Cherie, you got something?
Yeah, abundance is definitely the one that I struggle with the most. I tend to naturally be pessimistic, and to look at, I guess, the glass half empty. I've gotten a lot better, but that's an area that I struggle with, because I am I think strategically, and so I deal with facts, and so it's very hard for me to look at the gray. And for me, oftentimes possibility is gray, and so being able to see things beyond what I can tangibly see is often a struggle. And so I have to lean a lot on my faith in order to help me to be able to grow in that area. But that's a struggle a lot of times, especially when it comes to things that we're doing that require a lot of not necessarily effort, but things that are going to cost us, and not just financially. If that I'm somewhat risk adverse in certain areas because of my lack of that abundance mindset. So I'm very cautious, and sometimes overly cautious, that I'm not willing to step into the place of possibilities. But I'm growing in that, to let my faith lead me in those areas, and to trust in my team, trust in others around me that are a part of it, that can see things that I can't see. But that definitely is one of the mindsets that I struggle with. Not so much the other ones, but definitely that one is probably my biggest challenge.
Phew, boy. Cherie, I've never heard it put that way. For you, possibilities is a gray area. It's not black or white. That's powerful. You, in real time, there's a level of empathy now that I have for you. And I need y'all to hear this. In real time, I'm pumping my brakes. This is where I need to slow down with my business partner. Because when I talk possibilities, if she sees gray, then gray generally means murky. Gray means that there's no clear cut way. There's no clear cut answer. And so if it's not clear, I can't have clarity. And if I can't have clarity, I can't move forward. And so by not moving forward, if you're on my team and you're not moving forward and I'm moving forward, you're moving backwards. You're moving counter to where I want to go. That produces conflict. I can't say that twice. And what I need to do as a leader, Cherie, is pump my brakes and lean into, how do we clear up the gray? How do we bring some clarity to the gray? Whether it's a project we're working on or whatever the case may be, how do we get, because here's the other part that I realize. I can't afford to have you as my teammate unclear, because I am going to absolutely lose if you're not clear about what your assignment is. So that means that before the game is over, we've lost. Do y'all hear that? And I think as leaders, what we don't do is we're not self-aware enough. That's why that caring mindset, that number one, that was my biggest nemesis for a long time. I've since corrected that one, but y'all, I was not the guy who could empathize with nobody. The fact that I just did what I did live spells growth in many ways, because the old me, and when I say the old me, the version of me that you married was not that guy. And I had to do work on that, because I recognized that I needed to figure out a way to show people how much I cared. For those of you guys who are just pulling up, just wrapped up a Mindset Monday. I know you may feel like you are coming in on the tail end, but we've been talking about the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop: a caring mindset, abundance mindset, a challenging beliefs mindset, a collective mindset, and a growth mindset. The question of the day is, which mindset do you struggle with? And if you're on stage, and even, without hearing me talk about it, if you know which one that sounds like you, put, let me know. Click your microphone, either John or Rocky. I see you guys. I just want to make sure that I acknowledge you before we move on. If y'all got something you want to add, come on, talk to us. All right, cool. No worries. Let's go to the chat. Let's hear it. And let's talk about it a little bit. Let me just jump over to the chat and see what you guys are. So, Dr. Nicole, when you said what you said, that really blessed me because, wow, I just noticed that Shanika is in the building. My girl, Shanika Karim. Can we get Shanika up on the stage? If she's in a place, I know you might be moving and shaking with that baby bacon you got over there. I just said that because it rhymed. I don't mean to be offensive. That just sounded, no, shaking bacon. Anyway, Shanika, look, this is your brother and you already know. Listen, it's your first time on Clubhouse. Wow. All these years, y'all have to understand, Shanika and I go way back. She was the one that really got me hooked to Periscope back in the day. So it was a whole thing. So the fact that I'm killing it on a platform that she's not, listen. Your big brother is grown over. Shanika, come on, talk to me. You put number 5 in the chat. You click that microphone icon down at the bottom right. That will allow you to talk and share with us what's on your mind about this subject, lady. She's over there trying to find the button. Y'all be patient with her.
I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure it out.
I love it. That's my girl. Y'all, before you talk, Shanika, Cherie and I love the ground you walk on. You already know that. Shanika and her husband, Lamar, are the most beautiful human beings on the planet. I remember Shanika reaching out to me years ago when we wrote the book, How to Raise a Man Not a Mama's Boy. And there's a couple of things that we were working on, and she was doing a conference in Atlanta when we were living there. That goes to show you how far back that was. And she invited us to be at an event, and it was your first time, I think, speaking publicly. Maybe with the exception that one time we did something over at Celebration. Come on, Cherie.
Okay, so Shanika, you haven't heard me share this, but I owe you an apology. And what I mean, I refer to that speaking engagement as my worst speaking engagement ever. It was the first time I ever spoke publicly, and I was terrified. And so I've grown since then significantly. But I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to get on the stage.
Listen, that plays right into what we talk about, Shanika. Her mindset has shifted, girl. So come on, talk to us, Shanika. She's an author. She's a coach, guys. She's brilliant at what she does. She's a mom, a wife, doing all the things. Shanika Karim, come on, talk to us. Who are you? What you do? Why do you do it? Who do you do it for? Introduce yourself real quick and chime in on the subject. These growth mindsets. Talk to me.
So thank you all. Yes, this is my first time on here. I've never jumped on when everybody was on. I was like, I don't know. So yes, you got me on this one for sure. But thank you for inviting me to come on. What I did here was some really good stuff, just me coming in a little late. And so my name is Shanika Karim. I'm a life and mindset transformation coach. And my focus is absolutely on the people who are in between that faith space. So those who you kind of grew up in church, but there's also some stuff where you're like, I don't know, I'm not really sure, and I'm trying to find my footing. And so I do mindset for those people. So helping them to kind of navigate what faith looks like, but then also how do we put our feet on the ground when it comes to our mindset and then be able to walk in a practical space. So I will say for me, the growth mindset is one for me that I am always, that I feel like I'm actively working on, only because when you find yourself in a space where this is the thing you teach, right? This is the thing that you help people with and all that, sometimes you have to understand that everything doesn't require a next level. It's sometimes it's like, let's pause in it, let's sit in it. Have you actually, reflected in this space before you're trying to, reach a next level again and again and again? It's like, you don't have to be nitpicking at yourself every day, all day, right? Give yourself some time to walk in the thing that you've just learned. And so that's probably the thing for me. So it's not necessarily not having a growth mindset, but sometimes on the other spectrum of that, it's pushing it a little too far, or feeling like, did I do enough? Have I grown enough this week? Challenging myself in that way. And sometimes it's just, hey girl, slow down, right? Like, did you sit in those other things that you already learned? Have you applied those things yet before you're attacking yourself for not doing another thing just yet? So that's probably what it is for me as far as when I talk about growth mindset.
No, I love it, Shanika. For those of you guys who had just pulled up, I just wrapped up Mindset Monday, and I talked about unpack the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. Shanika, I love the part that you said that it's a constant state of working on it for you. And I think that all too often, particularly when you're really good at what you do, a lot of times it's really easy for leaders to kind of settle in, rest on their laurels, because you are a victim of your own success. I mean, if you have written a book and you've actually started selling copies, it's given birth to maybe a coaching program, you're on stages and you're speaking, you're quote blowing up, you can become a victim of that success. In a lot of ways, you do not see the value, I'll put it that way, of going back and working on you. And that's what these mindsets challenge, guys. A caring mindset, an abundance mindset, a challenging beliefs mindset. That's the one that used to hem me up on a regular basis. Challenging my limited beliefs, recognizing in real time that belief system no longer serves me and I should discard it. It served, and honoring the fact that it served me in a season of my life and it did its job. But you know what? Now I have no use for it. And so I should probably throw it away. A collective mindset is what we talked about. And obviously we finished up on a growth mindset. Anybody in the room want to chime in on this? And Shanika, please feel free to hang out as long as you feel like it. Shanika's working on some things, guys, and I certainly want to give her a chance to speak on it a little bit. But I'm excited to have my sister from another mister, and we got the same father. Y'all do the math on that. In the room today. But John, Rocky, I know y'all trying to play catch up on the convo. If y'all are ready, just clip it up and let me know. I don't want to blow past you guys. Just want to make sure that I honor you. But while they're getting themselves together, let's do a roll call real quick. And I'm excited that all of you guys are
Radio.
here.
Turn it up. Push sound.
Great morning, everybody. Grand Rising, Glenn P. Brooks Jr. here, along with this motley crew of mine. We call them the Mod Squad. Christine, the mompreneur, is in the building. Cherie, Coach Cherie, the relationship expert, is in the building. Rocky is on stage. Y'all already know she is that social media guru. John is in the building. Good to have John in the building. He is killing the game when it comes to frozen desserts. 5 Kona trucks in the Atlanta area. The boy knows the stuff, y'all. And then Shanika Karim, my girl, is on the stage. Let's go. Of course, Dr. James, the mad scientist, KBCN's very own, is running point on all of our audio today. That's why none of our microphones are unmuted. We're all going through his channel for clarity. Clarity, as they would say in DC. Renee is in the building. Good to see you, Renee. Shout out to the MMC community. Dr. Pam Fawcett is in the building. Grand Rising. Tammy is in the building again. Shout out to the MMC Rocks family. Jill Hines is in the building. Terry, I see you. Hey, Tessie, good to see you. Guys, Tessie is going to be at Bootstrapping Redefined October 13th and 14th. She's a leadership guru. She's doing all the things in Florida. West Palm Beach, to be exact. Y'all need to tap in. If you've not gotten your tickets for Bootstrapping Redefined, do me a favor, click the link at the top of the room on Clubhouse and grab your summer blowout sale, the virtual ticket only. Guys, it's crazy on sale. $49. Are you kidding me? To get all, like, I just sit there and think about, the more I say it, the more I'm realizing it's so underpriced. But that's gonna change come the end of this month, or end of this week. I'm sorry, the end of August. when fall gets here. Come on, or whenever that is. Let's keep going around the room. Nona's in the building. Shout out to Washington, D.C. In the building, in the place to be. Keetra's here. Shout out to Detroit, the Motor City. Dr. Nicole is in the building. Camp Springs, let's go. Grand Rising, Lafayette, Louisiana is in the building. Dominic, I see you. Kathy, it's good to have you. Stephanie, always a pleasure. Robert is in the building. Elaine is here. CM. I don't believe we've met. Great morning, CM. Good to have you in the building today. My sister Lanita is in the building. Mama Schultz is here. My guy Nolan. Nolan, I appreciate your tutelage, brother. Last but not least, Emanuela. Beautiful name. I've never heard the name Emanuela. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. Great morning. Grand Rising. Hey. Listen, guys, it's 6:56, 56 minutes after the 6 o'clock hour here in Panama City, Panama. Sheree and I, it's, I guess this week makes 9 weeks that we've been here. We got here the first week of July, so you do the math. And since we've been here, we've had 3 families visit us from abroad. And it didn't cost them nothing. They just decided to come. So imagine when we start putting together trips and excursions and opportunities for people to explore. This is going to be a situation. For all of y'all coaches that envision yourself doing a VIP getaway for your teams and for your clients, your VIP clients, we got you. For all my couples who y'all, you know y'all tripping. Y'all putting on the face in public. And y'all are tripping. And you need to get away because you need to reset. You need to rekindle. You need to refresh. All them things. We got you. But listen, there's a whole bunch of stuff we getting ready to do, y'all. All I need to know is who got their passport. Put it in the chat. Put me in the chat if you got your passport. That's all I want to know. Sheree, why are you laughing?
Because Christine's like, me, I got mine. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of research since we've been here and found some beautiful venues here for events. And I'm working with several tour guides and going to be putting some things in place for people to be able to come here and explore Panama. There's so much more to Panama. One thing that I realized that a lot of people in the States, when we don't think of Panama, number one. And when you do, you just think of the Panama Canal. But there's so much culture here. There's a very rich African Caribbean culture here. And just the culture, the indigenous people here in Panama is a very rich country with culture. And it's a small country, but there's so much more to it. And it's just been amazing being here, being boots on the ground and getting to discover the different areas and different things. And like I said, there's so many different places for retreats and things like that. And so I'm making connections and going to be putting together some packages and things for people that want to do events here, to be able to connect you with the right people so that you can bring your teams here and do different things abroad.
Listen, when Mike reached out, many of you guys have met Mike Kelly. He comes to the room from time to time. He's our real estate broker. His family owns a 63-acre ranch. He told me yesterday, he sent me a picture yesterday. Now, I know they have horses, but what I didn't know is that his in-laws also own a cattle ranch. Them jokers was herding cattle. Child. And the caption said, Glenn and Sheree, y'all ready? Listen. Help me. Your boy about to mount up. Partner, listen. Y'all listen. Shanika, they have no idea. I have made the switch, mama. This is getting ready to be a whole situation. For those of you guys that are just jumping in, it's Mindset Monday. Earlier today, we talked about 5 leadership mindsets that you need to actually develop. You need to spend time working on. The caring mindset was number 1. The abundance mindset was number 2. The challenging beliefs mindset was number 3. The collective mindset was number 4. And the growth mindset was number 5. If you have anything on any of those and you want to share, just put me in the chat or put it in the chat or come off mute if you are on stage, and we will go from there. Shanika, I want to switch over to you real quick. You are working on some things. I remember you wrote a book years ago on this very subject, and you talk a lot about mindset as a mindset coach. Talk to us about how that's benefited you over the years, because it's not been easy. A lot of times the first people to get hit is the leader that leads the way, because you're the point person. And you was doing stuff out in these streets, 8 years ago when we met. I can't believe it's been that long, but yeah. And you guys listen, and you've grown through it. Come on, talk to us, Shanika.
So around that time, I had written my book, Greater Does Exist, 25 Strategies to Help You Unleash Your Greatness. And to be honest, when we are charged with this particular work, it definitely hits you harder, right? I mean, and that's almost anything. So if you are out here, you're saying, I want to teach people about relationships, you're going to be challenged in your relationships, right? And so talking about mindset and being in that position, it definitely took me through a journey of understanding who I was. It took me to a place where I had to reconcile with who I was at one point, who I wanted to become. It had me like at that crossroad, if you will, of, these are the things I experienced. These are the borrowed beliefs, is what I call them, the ones that were imposed upon me through family, friends, society. These are all of those things that I am now battling with because they don't necessarily align with who I know myself to be or who I feel myself becoming. And so then having to then decide, well, what now are the beliefs that I'm going to choose? And walking through that was in some spaces, it was a journey of relief, because now it felt more like me. I felt more like myself. I had an opportunity to shed the weight of other people's, of their opinions on me, their expectations on me, how they felt like I should show up in the world. I had an opportunity to shed some of the things from even childhood, right? So that had created some of the beliefs or some of the ways in which I walked through things or thought through. Some of the things that had created my limited beliefs. And so some of it was a sigh of relief. And then other aspects hurt, and they hurt bad, because you're having to identify these spaces that have really contributed to the life that you lived, right? They allowed you to survive. They allowed you to get through certain moments, certain experiences, but now they're more harmful than good, right? So keeping a limited mindset at this stage doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit my family. It doesn't allow us to be able to see what is possible. But maybe when I was younger, that was fine, because thinking of what was possible felt harmful. Thinking of what was possible sometimes felt like, well, I might not obtain that anyway. So why even think that way? If I just stay right here with what I know, right? With the limited beliefs I got, if I just stay right here, I'll be good. But once you start to stretch yourself, once you start to be exposed to thinking different ways, to shifting your mindset, then it shakes everything up. Not only does it shake it up in your mind, it shakes it up in your belief system. It shakes it up in your relationships, because now people start looking at you differently because they think you acting different. They think you've changed, but that is hopefully the goal in life, right? So it definitely took me through those kinds of things, but I'm super grateful for it, right? Because along that journey allowed me to meet some amazing people. It allowed me to be able to pour into some dope people, and they've created powerful movements beyond anything I could have imagined. And so I'm grateful that I said yes to it, that I said yes to the moment of that transition for myself, because it's definitely allowed me to see my life and to experience my life in a way that maybe some of my family has never really seen. And so for that, I'm truly grateful.
Wow. Shanika, one of the things, and I see Christine nodding her head, and Cherie nodding their heads. You know, it is tough when you have grown up in an environment when something serves you. And quite frankly, when I say serve, y'all, I mean, it built you. It created who people see. So the strong person that people see was created in that vacuum, or the go-getter person that people see, or the fearless person that people see. And what it does is at the same time, you know, it can trap you to always being that person when that's no longer true. You know, Christine, I think about some of the ladies you get to coach, you know, this idea of, you know, you had to wear a cape because if not, y'all was going to starve. Literally. If you know what I mean? Like you had to mount up and do the things, and now it no longer serves you, but you can't shed that. Come on, Christine, you want to chime in on that real quick?
Yeah, thank you, Shanika, for sharing. What you said just definitely resonated with me. And I think about, Coach, when you were talking about that survivor mindset, and that's how I grew up. And I created this motto: if I don't do it, it won't get done. And it served me because I had to do the things that I had to do. But at some point, it began to hurt me. It began to damage me because I did not realize that me doing all the things because I didn't think it would get done was damaging me as a person from the inside out, meaning that I was doing every single thing and I was burning out and I was crashing. And so that thing that served me was actually hurting my family because I was crashing more often than I wanted to crash, intentionally and unintentionally. But changing and having to shift that mindset, that belief that I don't have to do everything. Yeah, I'm going to wear a cape, but I'm going to define how I wear the cape. And that's what I tell moms when I'm coaching moms is, yeah, don't let society define you. Don't let society put that cape on you, but tell you how you have to show up. I have put the cape on myself, but I tell Christine how I intend to show up, when I intend to show up, how long I'm going to show up, and what I'm going to do when I show up. No longer am I going to sit under society and say I can only do it this way because that's what I've seen and that's what I think I'm supposed to do. So programming yourself, getting rid of the pre-understandings of what you think you are supposed to believe because that's what everyone else is doing, because that's what mama did. That's what grandma did. Husband did his thing, went out. Sometimes husbands were nowhere to be found back in the 40s and the 50s, and they had to grow up and do it themselves. Being a latchkey kid, that's how my mother grew up, thinking that she had to survive and do everything herself. I remember a story of her telling me that she would wear dresses to school and there was a zipper in the back where she would get dressed because her grandmother had already left for work, left for the factory. She would have to go to a neighbor's house to get her dress zipped up before she went off to school at 5 years old. And so that's the mindset that my mother grew up with, and that's what she embedded in us. No, I wasn't a latchkey kid, but I grew up understanding that I had to survive by myself, even though I was in a house with my mother and my two brothers. My mom and my dad had already left at that point, but I had to grow up by myself, so I thought in my head. So that's that survivor mindset, but being able to shift that mindset and understanding that as a mom, I can still do what I need to do and take time out for me when I need to and not feel guilty about it. Not feel like I owe someone an explanation and not feeling like I have to apologize for how I do what I do when I do it and why I do it. I'll yield there.
That's good, Christine. Thank you and Shanika for sharing that perspective. And I think the thing we have to, and Shanika, you've done this, we have to give ourselves permission to not allow or to understand that, yes, the things that we've been through, our life experience, it has shaped our mindset, it has shaped us, but we have to give ourselves permission to reinvent ourselves, to evolve, to change, because people become accustomed to who we are. And they want you to stay the same because they're comfortable. But we have to give ourselves permission to realize, okay, there are some things here that are beneficial, but then there are some things that as I evolve, as I grow, I need to shift to be better for me. And this goes to even Christine, you talk about this, you were even talking about like taking the mecation. We have to put ourselves first and take care of ourselves first. Because if I'm, and I always say, if I'm no good physically, mentally, and spiritually, I'm no good to anybody else. And so I have to be willing to remove myself from everything else so that I can take care of me first. And that has to do with your mindset. It has to do with our beliefs. It has to do with the way that we move. Like you said, many of us, particularly as African-American women, we grow up in a survivor mindset because that's just what we have to do. Whether you were raised in a home with two parents, one parent, you had money, you didn't have money. The culture puts us in a state of survivorship from the time that we're born. But at a certain point, we have to grow and evolve to a place where it's like, okay, I'm not surviving anymore. I'm going to thrive. But that takes a mindset shift. And I think that it starts with us giving ourselves permission, having that self-awareness of where we are, and then giving ourselves permission to pull back and say, okay, let me focus on me for a minute, get me together so that I can move forward and become the best version of myself.
Real quick, I want to talk about, and you guys have already started unpacking, but I want to identify this for people and point it out. The areas that you struggle with in these 5 mindsets, how are you growing through it? Let's give an anecdote or two, right? Like, how are you growing through it? A lot of times people will sit, and I can see them, in their cars, nodding their head. Yup, that's me. Yup. And you're soaking it up like a sponge. I want to give you some meat, if you will, something to hold on to say, well, this is how I'm navigating through it. For me, and I'll start it off. The biggest challenges for me of these 5 is probably the challenging beliefs mindset, right? And so for me, one of the things that I've done over the years is I've purposely constructed a team that thinks differently than I do. When I'm looking at people to join my team on any level, whether that's virtually, whether that is a physical, hiring somebody, I'm often looking for people who think differently than I do. I am not okay with a bunch of me's in the room. I'm not okay with that. And the reason is because I don't need people to co-sign with me. I need people to challenge me. Now, there's a way to do it. I don't need strife. I'm not talking about, you arguing back and forth and this, that, and the third. No, but when it comes to constructively organizing dialogue that makes you think and causes you to be invited into a conversation to think differently, I'm with that. I want to be a part of that because that for me is where the growth takes place out of a challenging belief mindset. So for me, I purposely put people around me who think very differently than I do in particular areas. Anybody else on stage, you want to chime in on that? Just either, click your microphone and let me know that you're in a place where you can talk, or just come on off mute. If you're on live on TV, just wave your finger. I'll see you. Talk to me. What? Give me a how-to, Cherie. I don't know if you can start this off.
For me, like I said, it started with self-awareness. It's just me recognizing where I was and how I had been operating with this mindset of what they think I should do, how they think I should. It's like I never had my own. I didn't grow up with my own thoughts, really, I guess, on how I should move, on how I should operate. And so because it was always based on what other people wanted, what other people thought, how they felt that I should move, I had to, at a certain point in my life, I had to realize that, okay, I need to have my own thoughts. It's like oftentimes, like in relationships, people will joke like, it's simple things like, what do you want to eat? And it's always, I don't know. It's whatever you want to do. It's little things like that made me aware. It's like, okay, so what do I really think? What do I really want? What do I really like? But it took me stepping back and taking some time to really get to know me.
So real quick, if I could just put that into an actual step, a how to do it. If I hear you correctly, it sounds like you're saying you had to learn how to question yourself and ask yourself the question, what do I really want? Because you were famous for kind of going along to get along. that wasn't serving you. And so when people ask you now, speak up. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So I didn't have a voice. And so I had to learn to start exerting my own voice. And so questioning things, questioning the way that I thought about things, questioning the things that other people asked of me. And that was hard in the beginning because I was so accustomed to, like you said, going along to get along, that I realized I didn't have my own, I didn't have my own mindset. There was no mindset. I just did what other people said I was supposed to do, or acted the way that I was supposed to act. And it has resulted in the loss of some relationships, because for the first time in my life, in these past couple of years, I'm like, if I don't want to, I don't want to, or it's okay for me to say no. And people that have been in my life are not accustomed to that, or were not accustomed to that. And so they've taken it however they've taken it. But this is part of me gaining my freedom and me learning how my mind really works, what I really believe in, what my values are, and adopting a mindset that's beneficial for me and for those that I care about, so that we can continue to evolve.
I love it. I love it. Let me reset really quickly. It's a quarter after the hour. For those of you guys who are just jumping in the room, welcome to Mindset Mondays. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. And every Monday we try to come together at these microphones and just bring some dialogue around mindset. Earlier today, I did a monologue about the 5 leadership mindsets that you need to develop. Number 1 is a caring mindset. Number 2 is an abundance mindset. Number 3 is a challenging beliefs mindset. Number 4 is a collective mindset. That mindset that really is about result sharing. It's about mutual accountability. And number 5, it's a growth mindset. These, as a leader, are the mindsets that if you don't develop these, I promise you, you will not evolve and grow as a leader. John is on the stage. John, you're in a position where you can talk now, bro. I'd love to hear what you think on some of this stuff, man. Come on, talk to me.
Yeah, good morning. I'm not really, but I'll try to chime in.
Yeah, don't sweat it. If you ain't you good?
I'm not well. Like I said, I'm not in a position to really talk, but I mean the conversation is very intriguing. Like I don't know, I can't even remember the mindsets because I just been listening. I haven't been tracking what they are.
Yeah. No worries, bro. Yeah. No worries. I don't want to force it. Obviously, you got some stuff happening in the background. Do what you got to do. I get it. No problem. I said, Christine, looked like you lost total internet. I hope the power didn't go out. You good over there, Christine?
I'm good. It's called living in the woods.
Living in the woods. Look, that's Rocky's issue, right?
I'm
Good
good,
Lord.
Help me.
Dear Jesus. Shanika, before we wrap up, today you dropped something in the chat, and I really want to get maybe a 1 or 2. How did you make that turn? You said, my story as well, the thing that allowed us to survive, then turned around to entrap us. Now we get to redefine it from surviving to thriving. Shanika, can you give us 1 or 2 ways that you are redefining that? How do you do that? It's one thing to be self-aware. It's a whole nother thing to be able to manage that self-awareness. Come on, talk to me.
So I would definitely say just that process was really being able to identify, and some of the things that Cherie talked about, this space of being self-aware, but it's being able to identify the beliefs that you actually have. So what is my actual belief system? What are these, when I just pick apart, maybe I'm looking at my, relationships, whether romantic or platonic. What are my beliefs around that? My role as a woman in this world. What are my beliefs around that? My duties or things like that as a daughter, what are my beliefs around those things? And so, so me being able to sit in that real quick to say, okay, well, these are my beliefs around that. And then once I was able to identify what the beliefs actually were, then I went through a space of trying to determine, well, are these actual beliefs that I currently hold right now? Like, are these things true to me right now? And so I think that's what began my journey of, redefining who I was, and not allowing the things of my past or the roles and responsibilities, within my family, all of that stuff to totally define me, right? So the first thing definitely was me assessing what are my actual beliefs in these areas. And then once I determined what the beliefs were, what was my mindset around these particular things, then the second thing was being able to determine, now, is this an actual borrowed belief, meaning did it come from someone else, or is it something that I've chosen? Is this a chosen belief of mine? Is this something I want to hold on to, I want to stick with and continue to develop my life around? So that was the way I started doing that. And then it allowed me to release some things, walk towards some other things, and then began to get out of that space of just merely surviving, because a lot of my mindset was around that. And so those are the two ways that I started doing that.
I love it. Shanika, one of the things I love about what you said, and we're going to begin to wind up the show here, and that is actually sitting down and writing out where that come from. Let me give y'all a little drill that I've learned to do over the years. The Bible talks about thoughts and being able to take a thought and bring it into caption or I think it's in Corinthians. Y'all help me with the scripture. It talks about casting down those vain imaginations that would want to exalt itself above the knowledge of God, right? Taking your thought and holding it captive or bringing it into subjection. Let me tell you one of the first things that I learned years ago as I began the journey of me becoming a whole person, and that was speaking to my thoughts and asking my thoughts a question. Listen to me. You have a thought and it comes into your mind. When's the last time you asked that thought, where'd you come from? I need y'all, I want to teach you for a quick second. Listen to me very carefully. So, and this is how, as believers, often we can hear a good sermon on a Sunday, but to actually put that thing into practice is sometimes difficult. So I want to help you take this principle and put it into practice. And it basically kind of spurred off of something Shanika said. And that is sitting down and actually asking yourself or doing the work around identifying where'd that thought come from. I can tell you there have been times through Cherie's growth that I've been able to determine when she has not been checking in with her source, meaning God, because she'll come in with a limiting belief thought that's not even her thought. And maybe she'll start talking about something and it'll feel out of left field. And one of the things that I've learned to say to her is that, where'd that thought come from, babe? And it's code for us. She stops and she analyzes right away. Wait a minute. Let me evaluate. Anybody ever have a conversation with somebody and then now it shapes the rest of your day? Anybody been sitting in a space with somebody? Maybe it's early in the morning. Maybe it's riding to work. Maybe it's a conversation you have with your spouse or significant other or your children on the way to take and drop them off to school. And then as soon as they get out the car or whatever the case may be, you're left with a thought process. Can I tell you that thought was introduced by that conversation? And at noon, when you're sitting in a board meeting and now you are seeing someone reminiscently remind you of something that happened in that car, you're triggered. It's because you've not taken that thought captive and you've not pulled it down and you've not put it into subjection to where, listen, I don't have to move on that thought because that thought doesn't serve me. That was this morning and I'm going to leave it in this morning. That's an active thing that you have to do. Now, this sounds like a lot of work. It is. It sounds exhausting. It is. Because if you're having dialogue with people, Cherie will ask me in a heartbeat, well, where'd that thought come from? Or I'll respond in a way that she didn't ask me that. Like, you're responding to me with an emotion, babe, that isn't warranted for the question I just asked. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So as a result of that, what happens is she's able to identify that that is a limiting that thought is misplaced. But what we've done is we've given each other permission to speak into each other's blind spots, and we're able to say, and this is why I go back to saying, I don't have teammates that can't challenge me. You're not allowed to be on my team if you are so caught up with my leadership or so caught up with my ability to do what it is that I do. In the church, they would say, you so caught up with the anointing on my life that you can't speak truth. I don't need you on my team. I would rather go back and forth with you on how you said it versus the fact that you didn't say it. That's worse for me. We can deal with the fact that that felt a little disrespectful. I can deal with that, Christine. What I can't deal with is after the fact, and now you say, yup, I thought that the whole time. You're fired. You mean to tell me we lost a deal because I was acting like a dinkus and a jerk and it was coming out since the time we got out the car and y'all let me talk and we lost the deal? All of y'all are fired. Why would you let me do that? Why would you not speak? Because I didn't think, bruh, I made an error in hiring you. I made an error in putting you on my team. I'm getting ready to fix that forward. You're done. We're done. Because if you can't challenge me, we ain't on the right team. Now, there may mean I'm going to give you some pushback. Well, let's get ready for that little dialogue. Well, I don't know if I agree with that. Let's talk about that. That's how things get hashed out. And this is how you begin to understand what you really believe. Where did it come from? And how do you put it in its place? I know I probably triggered a bunch of y'all. Listen, Shanique, I know you're doing getting the kiddos together. Did that resonate with you, Shanika?
Oh no, that was good. That was real good. Just I was sitting over here just a nod in my head. But no, you hit it right. You hit it right there. And so I think a lot of times we don't realize that we can, if we do the work, we can capture that thought. We can hold it right there. Let me assess that. Like, where did that come from? That's not me. You know, I must have picked that up along the way today. So I need to take a moment, you know, to release that thing. And then me releasing that means I got to replace that thought with something else. I got to replace it with what I know to be true, because that thing that just popped up, that's not what I know to be true. So let me replace that, right? So I can shift now the rest of my day, right? The rest of this moment. But you hit it right on. That was good stuff. It stepped on my toes a little bit too.
It's Christine, it's the replacing part for me. Come on, Christine.
That part, all of that. But that's maturity right there. Because it's so easy to just walk in that belief. It's just so easy. It's just easy. There's no friction. There's nobody's rubbing you the wrong way. It's you just flowing. You got a bunch of yes men around you. But when you take ownership of your own ish, as you said earlier, but allowing people to speak into you, speak into those blind spots, as they say, but that takes maturity, being able to capture that thought. 2 Corinthians 10:5, that's where it is, Coach. But capturing that thought, or vain imagination, as the word says, capturing it first. And then what Shanika said, what are you replacing it with? It can't be somebody else's yes thought. It still has to come under subjection, if you will, and it has to make sense for you. Are you?
And the key part of that is replacing it with the thou truth, the truth, replacing it with the truth.
Yeah, when Cherie is making that declaration, it is not a truth. It is not your truth, but it's the truth. And a lot of times when I hear Shanika say that, your truth has evolved based on what somebody else told you. So you hear people all the time say, well, that's my truth. Where did that come from? I'm not asking you that. Clearly it's your truth, because you wouldn't be owning it the way you do. We're not even arguing that. What I am asking is to challenge it. Where'd that come from? I mean, that's just me. That's not enough. Let's go deeper. What do you mean it's just me? I mean, I just don't feel like, okay, what made you feel like? Y'all hear this work that's going down? I do this with myself. You don't have to sit and drill me. That's why oftentimes Cherie will say something, and I'll say, I got it. And that means it's enough. In other words, I'm so self-aware that when you say something, it don't take me long for me to figure out A, what you said, B, that it's true for me, C, that I need to make the adjustment, and D, to get to it. That can happen for me in the same 2 minutes. You don't need to go on and on and on and on and on and on because you want to now vent. Now, that'll rob you sometimes of this feeling of wanting to release your frustration. I'm going to say go to the gym if you want to release some frustration. You feel me? But at this particular point, and my wife will tell you, she has a record of me switching up. You don't listen. I used to be the dude that was so hard-headed. I didn't believe doo-doo stunk until I smelled it. Y'all get the reference. I had to go, y'all know them kids, got to go put your face in it and you got to go. I do not have to drink and drive now to realize that stuff don't mix. I don't have to be that guy. I can see, so that's what happens when you decide to do A, B, C, or D. I got you. It won't be me.
Help me.
Miss me with that. I'm good. I'm good. So I want you guys, and I appreciate that, Keisha. Keisha, I want you guys to understand that that's what that looks like.
Brothers and sisters,
that's the end of the show, guys.
I want to welcome you back to life.
I appreciate you, Shanika. Thanks so much for pulling up.
One that can make your next chapter.
We'll be back tomorrow for Teach Me Tuesday.
Chapter.
I think Christina's up.
How can it be?
If you had a great time this morning, put me in the chat. I appreciate you. If you pulled up on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, thank you. KBCN, we appreciate you. I see you, Dr. Nicole. Thank you for putting the me in the chat. I see you, Stephanie Gray. Thank you for putting the me in the chat. Great discussion. I agree, Dr. Nicole. It's a Mindset Monday. What are you doing to shift and to change how it is that you think?
Hallelujah.
Listen to me, entrepreneurs, business owners, ministry leaders. It is not about the doing, it's about the being. And that is informed by how you think. As a man thinketh.
I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you.
As a man thinketh, so is he. Paul said that a long time ago. 7:32, 32 minutes after 7 o'clock here in Panama City, Panama. It's 32 minutes after the hour, and wherever part of the world you're in.
It's amazing how
your patience with me, God will never leave.
You don't give up on me.
Ain't you grateful that God won't give up on you? Y'all be good.
Like you do.
No matter what.
Again, if you have not gotten your tickets for Bootstrap and Redefine, click the link at the top of the room. You can get the summer blowout special, good for virtual only tickets.
Hallelujah.
Shout out to AARP for being our sponsors for Bootstrap and Redefine.
I love like this.
I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Here's what we know to be true. You can't get to any place of significance by yourself because we all need some help. Y'all be good. And we will talk to you soon. The room will end when the music does. KBCN, y'all be good.
I searched all over. You. That's right.